Well, let me begin by thanking you for not giving up on the church. You perhaps have found yourself on the edge of just that some of these days. But the fact that you are here, the fact that you're here for this Pentecost morning says that in the midst of all the discouragements that you probably experience about being a Catholic right now in the church, or even being a Christian of perhaps some other tradition, you still believe that there's something here, something still worth your life. As many of you know, if you've been around the last few weeks, I've been referencing some of the scandals of our church that have been part of our church, especially this last decade, and rearing their heads again in Europe and some of the other continents, and especially how they're affecting the leadership of our church. And if you've been here and you've heard me talk about that, reflecting out loud about it, you probably know as well that my hope in the church is strong. And though the pain is real these days, trying to figure out what it means to be church, even after all these centuries, many are realizing that it is the time of transition, that it is perhaps a time of a new birth. And believe it or not, just as some people need to be born again, you and I, perhaps over and over again, so does a church. A church needs to be born again, too. And for that reason alone, I have this clarity within myself that these are the pains of a new birth. And my hope has never been stronger. And so in the light of these challenges and in the light of this feast of Pentecost, I tried to imagine what might we being called to by this Holy Spirit of God, this inner dynamism of this community of faith that is universal indeed. What might be the clergy challenged to right now? And what might be some of the challenges of the laity? And so this includes both you and me, and what God might be up to here on this Pentecost 2010. And so, in this homily, I'll be addressing the laity of the church. That's you. And imagine behind you the vast throngs of laity. And I'll be addressing the clergy, the hierarchy. That'd be me. I'm a hierarchy. So is our deacon. And so, while I ask you to imagine throngs behind you of laity, I ask you to imagine behind me a lot of guys with little white collars below their double chins and very pointed hats. Church, we got some challenges for you. Clergy, preach the gospel for God's sake. Laity, quit getting mad at them when they do. Clergy, be as holy as you can be. And let this be your definition of holy. Be most nobly and still only human, living with open minds and pure intention. Laity, let them be human. Quit expecting to be gods. We're all in this kind of holiness together. Clergy, don't just surround yourself with people who will agree with you and affirm you and tickle your ears and not challenge you or disagree with you. Laity, get involved. This church happening is your responsibility too. So don't say when you're called to serve you're too busy or you're too young or you got better or more fun things to do. This church happening is your responsibility. Clergy, remember that they're the experts. We might know some theology, but they know life. There are 3 here in this community who just got back from serving in Haiti. Clergy, do you hear that? They're the experts. Laity. Too often you treat your priests like answer men. Like we should have the answer for you in this thing called faith. Instead of just being with you, fellow seekers. We need to both, laity and clergy alike, be aware that we are always, only, and forever seekers. Clergy, as you can, please, try to find ways to make room at this table for everybody. Sinners want to be at this table too. What if inclusion is what would make transformation possible? Laity, forgive. Forgive your sisters and your brothers so that we can all come to this table forgiven and free, as Bob Dylan sang it. Forgive so that we can all come to this table forgiven and free. Clergy, sometimes it seems that you think that changing the liturgy or going back to Latin or getting back to the original translations will somehow bring back mystery and reverence to the faith community. You know, you may be right, but maybe a better way to bring back mystery and reverence to the community of faith would be to not speak with so much certitude all the time. Certitude is what the Enlightenment offered us, and certitude is what destroys mystery. Please don't contribute to that mistake. Laity, ask your clergy to teach you how to hold mystery. Clergy, make up your mind. Do you want to be princes of the church or pastors of the church? Do you want to continue on with titles of your eminence and your excellency and ring-kissing and all the trappings of imperial Rome? Or do you want to be a pastor? Laity, make us trust you. Make us empower you. Don't let us protect you. And finally, clergy, don't let us run through the pain of these years for the church. Teach us to be patient. Teach us to wait together, not just circle the wagons again, not just run through this to get onto the next and safest thing and to the easy answer. Waiting is not natural in this world anymore. Don't let us run through this. Teach us patience. Laity, this time in our church teaches that we can survive not being in control all the time. Don't push your leaders to end the pain in your communities until the lesson is learned. Until the lesson is learned that this time needs to teach. Because then we can all wait together for something new to emerge. Something new that is being born even as we come here together this morning, even among us right here. Born from that inner dynamism that is the Holy Spirit of Jesus. In conclusion, I reference one of my favorite cartoons ever. It's by Jack Cornfield. And in this cartoon, there's a Bedouin family. And this Bedouin family are on camels of descending side. The biggest camel is the dad up front, and then the mom on a little camel, and then 3 kids to the youngest in the back with this little camel. And this Bedouin family on these camels is traveling along this vast, vast desert landscape. And the father in this scene is turning back to address the smallest child. And he says, "Stop asking if we're almost there. We're nomads, for God's sake."